All right, well, welcome to this quarter's Tribe Meetup, a place where you can get connected, educated, and engaged for greater good. We've been pretty focused this past year on 5 strategic outcomes, which we'll update you on. And key question, how many of you know that we are working on both sides of the philanthropic coin? That's a little bit of a teaser because I'll talk about it a little bit later. But on the one side are the givers, and that's all of us. And we know that the current system, at least for those that have been involved in this journey so far, we know that this current system is inequitable. It's filled with an imbalance of power and driven by many false narratives like the overhead myth. So how do we combat that? By getting educated and giving differently, individually and as a group. On the other side of that philanthropic coin are the nonprofits who are on the front lines of responding to the needs of humans, the environment, and animals. These nonprofits need not just the funding, but the technical assistance in order for them to go the distance and to meet their mission. We know what we're doing is working. We've now proven the model. And our latest proof is a video by Jimmy Halliburton, who is the ED from Boise Bicycle Project. So you'll get the link as a follow-up to this. And I would highly encourage anyone who either has questions about this model or would like to know more about the model to view the video and then engage with us. So we stick really closely to our values in pretty much everything we do. And this has been a great year for learning, doing, reflecting, and trying stuff to test to see what works. So it's just part of our DNA. One of the things we did recently was a food and education pairing with Under the Table, which is Adon Carlson, and Pamela Anderson or Alexander helped to coordinate it. If you attended, do me a favor, use your chat and identify what your favorite topic was at the food pairing and or the food, because what we were trying to do was teach people about the local food ecosystem. So if you went to that event, go ahead and drop something in the chat that others can see what they missed actually, but also to see what you might have learned or the foods that were there that night. Amy, all the food was amazing. Anyone else out there? I know there were a couple of others that are on this call that were there. As you can see, that food was pretty amazing. And the topics that we covered was the local system of milling for grains, the local butchery system, and local CSAs. So it was really super informative, but it was also a place where people could talk about what they did or didn't learn while enjoying some pretty awesome food. All righty. Okay, everybody open your chat, please. And I'd like for you to identify where you are on the engagement scale with Idaho Partners for Good, all right? Are you on the casual observer? And that would include people who are new, just trying to find out about this. Are you currently connected somehow? Or are you on the far right of that spectrum and you're committed and actively engaged in some form or fashion? Okay. Has everybody weighed in?
Almost. Oh, there we go.
Okay, perfect. All righty. So this will help us to know how to formulate questions as well as hopefully meet some expectations during this meeting. So very good. We've got some people who are just beginning, some who have taken a step towards, and then most of the people on the call are actually involved in some form or fashion. Perfect. Okay. So At the beginning, which was earlier this year, we started doing what we call tribe meetings. And we've used it to describe these gatherings on a quarterly basis. Recently, actually, it wasn't recently, it's been over the course of the last couple of months. We've heard from both our Indigenous and non-Indigenous friends about its use. So as an organization that creates space where all kinds of people belong, we're going to tap into the collective wisdom of our people. So some of you may not know that we've used the approach of collective wisdom from the time we named this thing. That was a collective wisdom and crowdsourcing to design our business plan, to guide our strategy, and to solve some of our design challenges. And we'll use it again. So I want you to watch the October newsletter, because there will be a poll in there, and we would like you to weigh in on what other word besides tribe gives us, differentiates us, while also being respectful of those that have used that word to describe how they show up in the world. So we're going to ask you to weigh in, but what I'd like also for those people who are either connected or committed to the mission, I want you to use your chat now, and I want you to identify where you are currently involved. Are you part of the grant relations team? Are you part of the board, or the eval team, or the impact team, or maybe the comms team? So go ahead and use your chat and identify where you are as far as your seat in the organization right now. Nice. Okay, as you can see, lots of people that are currently involved sit in a number of different seats. And so there is a place for everyone to be involved. All right. Hey, Julia, do me a favor. You're one of our younger members of our multi-generational team. Why are you involved?
I'm involved because I feel that I have a greater impact and purpose when I'm a part of Idaho Partners for Good, as well as the reach that Idaho Partners has, the connections, even just being, I was at representing Youth Blossom, an event the other night at the Boise Zoo, and just being able to see the impact that we do. It's incredible. So I'm excited for the future and how this grows and progresses, and I want to be a part of that.
Perfect. Thank you, Julia. All right. So what's today about? Here's what we want you to know about today. You'll learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and how we're doing it. We want you to get educated and connected to each other. We want to give you visibility on the transformative work that we're doing in the philanthropic sector and a path to easily engage in ways that are meaningful for you. So here's level setting. This is our vision, mission, and our values. Fairly straightforward. Our vision is to develop stronger, healthier, better equipped nonprofits. Doesn't matter what kind of nonprofits, really. Well, it does, but we serve a lot of different kinds of nonprofits so that they can do more of what they do best. Then we're reinventing how people give, share their expertise, and do greater good together. And our three values are learners, entrepreneurs, and designers. When we do our work, we are super focused in on everything aligning to these values. And with that, I am going to hand it over. Let's see, is that to you, Johanna?
We've got them all listed, but when we get to the grantee relationship team, I'll have Kendall and Jose Lynn speak. So nope, I don't think so.
Okay, so I guess it's Lorraine.
I think that's me.
Yeah.
Yep. So we figured out some tribe members still had some kind of a hard time pitching who we are and what we do. Hopefully those kind of meetings help, and that's one of the outcomes we want to reach. But then we thought that a one-pager pitch could be a good tool for the tribe too. So this is what we call an elevator pitch. that every one of us would need to be familiar with and have in mind when talking about IP4G. This is an internal document and it's not meant to be shared as this to the world. And as always, we designed it in a collaborative way and tried to and we tested it during the Under the Table event. And today we want to share it with you. So if you have a little bit of a hard time to read that, don't worry, you'll have it in the follow-up email after that meeting. So what you can see is we put the two core ideas on the left. We, IP4G, want to help nonprofit do more of what they do best by giving expertise with pro bono consulting and funds. And number two, we want to help the community double the good by offering world-class consulting services. This is the impact team we're going to talk about a little bit later. And by supporting organizations to give more effectively and contribute to the revolution of giving. Then you can see in the middle our why. So we bring time, talent, and treasure to help nonprofit get stronger, healthier, and better equipped so that they do more of that of what they do best. And so there is a greater impact on the community. Then you have this kind of a reminder of who we are and what we believe in. So we are engaged philanthropists, we are entrepreneurs and lifelong learners, and we believe in collective action, system solution, human-centered design, and accountability and results. And then the right part is really about giving tips and tricks to how to actually lead the conversation. We got that especially from one of our members who kind of share what was her process to kind of get into the conversation with, whether it is just a friend or a family member or a colleague or anyone you starting the conversation with, and you can see that they may be interested in IP4G. And so the idea here is kind of identify the skill and talents from that people you are interacting with, think about how this can benefit to IP4G. And if you think this person could be a good fit, then you go further and you share your experience with IP4G, how they could be a good addition to our organization, share the mission and project and show your excitement about being part of that adventure. And then recap the conversation. And then her trick was, her last advice was to follow up with an email with Blossom in there, and then really follow up that conversation so it's just not lost in the nature. So yeah, that's kind of the elevator pitch we would like to share with all tribe members so that we all have kind of the same language and we are aligned of what we want to say about IP4G if we have like 2 minutes to talk about it. So don't hesitate to put your thought in the chat about that if you have any comments. And again, it's going to be in the follow-up email. So if you need more time to get through it before sharing any feedback, then do so.
Lorraine, before we move on.
Yep.
I just put something in the chat to get some feedback on whether this would work for them to help explain. And we're getting some feedback on it. Okay, great. All right.
Awesome. Thank you. So again, feel free to share your feedback later if you need to get through that document first. So kind of this in the same lines, we started to work on an impact team sales pitch this time. This one really has a different goal. Of course, it can be a tribe tool, but really this one pager is a marketing piece that we can share as this to client, put in proposals, share with the world. So we have that version. We also have a lighter more concise for like a 30-second pitch. So here, we talk to businesses, right? So we purposely made the decision to focus on our consulting services and expertise first, before highlighting the double the good part, because we think a business needs a consultant first, right? And a consultant with a specific expertise to fulfill a mission. And then if the client can double the good with the consulting team they chose, awesome. So we are in a learning mode. We want to test that pitch with you. So put yourself in your business role right now and not your IP4G tri-member role anymore. You are potential impact team consulting recruiters for us. So our hook here is we think that if you create a thriving business, then you can create space to help the communities thrive. That said, the impact team at IP4G can support you create a thriving business by choosing our diverse team of consultants to help you design tailor-made solutions for your business. And here we kind of listed a couple of profiles and expertise. Then, because you create a thriving business, you can create a place for our community to thrive by remodeling your giving strategy, with the strategic charitable giving 101. We're going to talk about it a little further in this presentation. The goal of this 101 is really to maximize your company's community benefit approach. And why we're doing that? Because we are committed to your success and that of our community. And so by choosing us, you double the good, because a percentage of our consulting fees help fund grants and build organizational capacity in Idaho nonprofit sector. And so together, we contribute to the revolution of the future of giving. So we kind of have this thriving cycle. Because you develop a thriving business, our community thrives, and back to your business grows. And together we make that spiral stronger. So again, please share your thought in the chat. And especially for those who didn't really know what the impact team was, I'm really interested in knowing if that makes any more sense now. So please share your feedbacks. Again, we're learners. We are learning as we go. So any feedbacks on how to improve that or how to, get better at it, we're most welcome. And then, so I'm going to wait for your feedbacks a little bit. So really, if you were not that familiar with the impact team, does that make any more sense now? Okay, this one will be shared in the follow-up email too, so you can take more time to get through it if you need. And I'm doing just a little shout out here because we also have the project possibly to do a video pitch for the impact team. So if there is any expertise out there in video design and editing, please reach out, throw your name in the chat, and so we can see how to move forward with you guys. And that said, I'm going to hand over to Kimbra for a couple of other stories about the impact team.
How about if I take that one? Kimbra's going to have to jump pretty quick into one of the clients we're going to talk about. So the impact team. So the quote on the last slide was around how if you create a thriving business, you can create a space to help the community thrive. And so these are two examples of clients who are benefiting from the impact team approach. So first of all, I want to tell you, we show up differently. We use design thinking. We're working with clients with very different challenges, but they're all linked by their desire to design with their end users, not for their end users. Big, big difference. When you design for somebody, it typically doesn't work out very well. But if you design with someone, then the longevity and the impact is normally goes through the roof. So what we're doing is we're coming alongside different organizations and businesses and helping them design for their end users. One group is tackling the how might we question by how might our company be of value to employees who find themselves facing housing insecurity. So that is work that we're doing with 2 local companies here that have a footprint that is in the all of the Northwest and Southwest. And we are helping them to design prototypes and test them to see what might work the best to support their employees who may be at the precipice of being homeless, or maybe they're a renter that got a notice and they need some help. The other project that we're using design thinking with that is super fun is what's going on with Pocatello. And this is a project that is a legacy project that is essentially what we're trying to do is help them to build out a community collaboration between existing efforts and new ones to be a place where people can create, produce, heal, and connect. And so their design challenge, their how might we statement is how might we design a makerspace where people create, produce, heal, and connect. So this is the kind of super interesting work that's happening with the impact team. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not just looking for this kind of work, although this is really fun stuff. We're also looking for the other stuff, the things along the lines of helping a company project manage or to help with their branding and marketing or their change management. So we're looking for the design, but we're also looking for the meat and potatoes of basic business operations. I'm going to check the chat in case that's something for me. Okay, that was Lorraine. All right, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so Lorraine mentioned this. The SCG stands for Strategic Charitable Giving. And it is our workshop that we take into foundations and businesses in particular, although if you would like it for your organization, we can do that as well. We put them through typically an hour to an hour and a half, where we go over these 8 elements to help them to really identify what it is and how it is and why they do what they do so that they can have greater impact with their charitable giving. We want it to become more strategic and actually benefit the local nonprofit or Idaho's nonprofit sector in a new way. So we presented this to St. Luke's Community Health Improvement Team, Power Engineers Board, and we believe that this will open doors to more clients while also beginning the shift towards more informed giving practices. So we know that when companies and foundations use this approach, the whole sector will be impacted and our transformative approach will begin to gain momentum. So we would like for you to help us to get in the door in different companies and charitable foundations so that we can help them to give more strategically for greater impact. All righty, I think I'm turning it over to Jose Lynn and to Kendall.
Yep, I'll take this one. So as you can see, we have some superheroes on this slide. And the reason they're there is because we've had some real superheroes stepping up really in this whole movement. But in the past 4 months, or in the past few months, we've had 4 superhero applicants. So 4 community nonprofits have finished their applications, and we are actually in the process of conducting interviews right now to find a nonprofit that Idaho Partners for Good will partner with and move forward with in the next 3 years to give that funding that has been talked about and to also give the consulting. So superhero applicants and also superhero teams. The grant relations team has been reviewing the applications, has been talking about all kinds of things. And I'm only part of the grant relation team, but I know all the other teams are doing amazing work as well. So yeah, everybody's got lives, everybody's got their own jobs and work to balance, but everybody's pitching in wherever they can and doing their part in this movement. So before I turn it over to Kendall, I just wanted to let everybody know where we are in the process, because Blossom and Lorraine have talked about what Idaho Partners for Good does. We're now kind of talking about where we are in the process. So looking for a grantee, we have Boise Bicycle Project, which you'll have a video about. And then we're looking for a new grantee, and you as members here, those who are partners, will have the opportunity to vote soon on who that grantee will be. The interviews are happening. We've got some GRT people, some grant relations team people conducting those interviews. And I'll ask you in like 2 slides for your feedback on some information you'll need. So just hang tight for that. But until then, I'll hand it over to Kendall.
Yeah, thanks, Rosalyn. We really wanted to make sure that when we were designing this interview process from scratch, we wanted to make sure that, you know, traditionally in an interview process, whether it's in the nonprofit world of, you know, interviewing for grants or whether it's interviewing for job, there can often be a power imbalance when it comes between the candidates and the interviewer. And we wanted to eliminate that as much as possible. We wanted the interviewers to feel like they were really prepared and had a lot of information about the candidate, and to provide a really conversational interview experience. And we also wanted to make sure that the grantee applicants had enough information about Idaho Partners for Good, that they felt like they knew what they were what they were submitting an application for, that they could also ask us a lot of questions, and really show up to the table on equal footing with us, which was what we've been experiencing over the last month of interviews, which has been really great to hear. So a few of the ways that we did that was we created a suite of documentation and processes for our interviewers to make sure that they had the training that they needed to best answer questions about the work that we do here, and as well as, you know, take a conversational approach to the interview. So we had some video trainings on that, this really great TED Talk and a couple of other things. And then we also made sure that the interview questions that they would bring were a mix of questions and prompts that they could use and were specifically associated with different qualitative and quantitative metrics that we were evaluating these grantees for. So for example, we are looking for people that are learners, entrepreneurs, and designers. So we made sure we had questions that fell into that bucket. We also made sure that the questions were a collaborative approach. We used collective wisdom across Idaho Partners for Good. We have people from different departments helping us with questions and, you know, things that they want to know, you know, before, you know, we choose our grantee. And so those things were all really important to us. We also did a bias check in the interview kind of structure. So we made sure that there were always 2 interviewers from the grantee relationship team in the interview. And then we also have blind reviewers who will be reviewing the feedback forms after they're submitted by those 2 interviewers to make sure that, you know, doing bias checks, making sure that those 2 feedback forms are pretty similar, just to make sure that we have an equitable process for our interviewers or our interviewees too. I think that that's what I have for the interview process for now. It was a very collaborative experience building it over the last couple of months.
Yeah, and we've had 7 applicants, or we had 7 nominations come in, and there were, I think, one repeated. So we've had 7 nominations from tribe members or from partners who've known their own community nonprofit organizations to nominate. And I'd like to ask everybody if they could, in the chat, what would it take for everyone to nominate? Because we have more than 7 partners or members, what would it take for every person to nominate a nonprofit in the next cycle? Did that question make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Awareness of when to nominate and who can nominate. Hosting a nonprofit experience program to know who would be good, maybe quarterly. Oh, so engaging with nonprofits in the community already and getting the partners to know the nonprofits. Yeah, I think that's a hard one because people don't always know startup nonprofits, or they're not aware of nonprofits yet. What tools or knowledge? Hopefully increase nominations from our partners for next cycle. Yep. Yeah, because we want to have more than just like 1 or 2, because we want to see, it's not just about getting one grantee. This is about helping a bunch of people too through the process that they go through, and getting connected with more people. So we will be having one grantee at the end, but that doesn't mean we don't want to have relationships with other nonprofits so they can do what they do best as well. And they can benefit from this experience as well, because all the nonprofits are trying to do the best they can for the community, and that elevates everyone.
A big part of the interview process too was not just saying, who we can benefit and who we can help the most, but also making sure that it's going to be a partnership with whoever we end up choosing, so that we feel like we benefit from partnering with them as well. So again, making sure that it's an equal footing approach, that we feel like it's an equal opportunity for us just as much as it is for them.
Yeah. And right now, like Kendall's mentioned, they're going through the interviews, and then the grant relation team is going to look through the feedback. We're going to look through the interviews. We're going to look again at the application. What are things that our partners, that our tribe wants or needs in order to make an informed decision to vote for that final grantee? What kind of information, what do you need to see in order to make that final decision? Because you'll have the opportunity to vote. So what do you need to make that informed decision? To your presentation. Hard to reach it. This is good feedback, because we don't want to just have like, hey, try vote on a grantee, and then you don't know anything about it. So this is really good feedback. Yeah. And like Kendall has mentioned, like everybody's mentioned, this is a partnership. This is a benefit for them, benefit for us, and really ultimately a benefit for the community. So thank you. I'm going to hand it over to John, but go ahead and continue putting your feedback. We'll continue to see them.
John, you out there?
Sorry about that. Didn't unmute. Yes, my name's John Llewellyn, as you know, and I'm responsible for fund development. And this slide gives you a basic sort of overview of where we are. As of August 31st, this calendar year, we'd raised $78,000. That's actually a very good performance compared to the prior year. We're about 2.5 to almost 3 times what the revenue was in 2021. The goal set for this year, of course, was a large and rather ambitious goal of 250,000. So we're some way from that. But there is a lot of time. This is the prime giving period starting now, between now and the end of the year. So we have a number of proposals out. We have a number of people who have expressed interest. So I'm encouraged to say that I think we will increase the revenue this year, but whether we'll hit the goal is another matter. That's one of the major activities I've been involved in the last couple of months has been with the YCon 22 Dragon Slayer Conference. We reached an agreement, a partnership with them to provide support to help them gain sponsors for their event, and we're still working on it. The conference is taking place at the end of October. We're still working on some leads now. For those people who are on this call, there are a number of ways you can help us that would enable our process of trying to increase these financial support. One is the impact team, which is effectively the revenue generating activity that we do. If you are able to provide leads to clients that they can therefore pursue, that would be a major benefit. Secondly is to open doors for SCG, which is, I believe stands for social, not sure, social community and governance, I think, presentations to your company or to your philanthropic foundation. Oh, wrong, sorry, I misspoke. I know what that is now. It's the strategic giving. I apologize. If you can, host an event that it can be used to educate people that you know, whether it's in your community or within your organizational firm, and be an ambassador. I mean, one of the most critical problems that we have is just simply letting people know that we exist. We are new, we are relatively small, and part of the the task that I've had is simply just education of people. I make a lot of calls, and I'm finding people who just simply have no idea of our existence, and I'm just going through that whole process with them before I can even make any financial pitch to them. So let's say being a connector for us would be a great assistance. Thanks very much. If you have any questions, send me a text in the chat, or you can reach me through my email or through phone. Thanks.
John, Amy has a question. How can we connect with John to connect him? Do you want to put your phone number and
I'll give
email
you
in the chat?
My cell phone is the best number to reach me, and it's
Okay, just put it in the chat for me.
I'm doing it now.
Okay, perfect. All righty. One of the things that I want to call out too is that in just over 2 years, the return on investment that we've had with the organizations we've come alongside with has been over $100,000. So while we are small, we are mighty. All right, I'm going to stop and see if there are any questions before we move into the last part of the meetup. And unmute so you can just ask the questions, or maybe you just have a comment so far.
Maybe I want to do a little rebound on a question I can see in the chat. It was when it was about this, what you need to know to actually vote. Amy shared an interesting point about maybe look at a location as maybe getting a priority point, for example, rural. And it made me think about all the criteria work you, GRT, did at the very beginning. So if one of you want to talk about it, maybe just 1 minute to explain how did you actually frame those criteria, and how does it impact your work?
Johanna, would you like to talk about that?
Unmute. Perfect. Yes. So thank you very much, Kendall and Jose Lynn. They are two of 9 people that are actually on the grantee relationship team, and then Mike Svenk at Boise State and myself are kind of co-leading this. So I'll try to jump into a part of that. So we reflect back on our own mission, values, well, vision, mission, and values to put part of what we're looking for to move forward with a partnership for the next 3 years. So part of that is the entrepreneurial thinking, the design thinking, the being very entrepreneurial in all of our approach. But part of it is also our learnings that we've had with Boise Bicycle Project and what it takes to have a good partner. And it is the commitment and the trust. And we try to have conversations during the interview that help us with that. It's also, right now we're very focused on staying close to home. So it is still Treasure Valley, though our future is to go beyond the Treasure Valley and all over Idaho. And so there's a number of other areas that we are looking at either through the application process as well as in the interview to be able to, you know, and both sides try to have a good relationship from the start, and so that there's a good fit going forward. And hopefully that's answered the question that was asked.
I will also say that when we talk about rural communities, what our plan is for the future is to pair a rural organization with our more metro areas, because there is a lot of learning, coaching, mentoring that can go back and forth, and resourcing. So it is in the business plan for the future. All righty.
That's
Okay.
actually a perfect segue. So we started talking a little bit about the future just there, but so what is 2023 all about? And so for us to do that, we tried to reflect back and look at, I guess let's jump to slide number 2, or the second one of this one. Obviously, we're going to start again with our vision, mission, and then our values. We revisited those again, and we felt very comfortable that what was laid out for our 3-year strategic plan is still the right thing for us to move forward with. We also, I think, as even John had mentioned on the funding side, we had very lofty outcomes that we wanted to go after from an overall community input as well as board involvement to see what we wanted to accomplish in 2022. And those are the 5 that we have outlined here. But halfway through the year this year, we actually decided that number 3 and 4, we needed to pause, and we focused the latter part of the year on 1, 2, and 5. So let me go a little bit through each one of these. These will be the outcomes that we stay focused on this year. They should get us continuously moving towards our overall mission. But it starts with, and actually these aren't in any particular order. So we'll just start with the number 1 because it seems to be a good number to start with. Number 1, we've just talked about the grantee the selection process that we're trying to move towards having 1 grantee selected by the end of this year. That was a whole team of people with lots of different backgrounds that have created this process. And through the selection process, we brought in a lot of new tools, which Kendall spoke to some of them as well as Jose Lynn. And it was very much been a collective effort to be able to pull the process together. But we couldn't leave Boise Bicycle Project out of that as well, because their insights on how the last 2 years have gone through as a grantee was very important. Second outcome, John spoke to this, raising $250,000. to support not only the grants that would be going out, but also to be able to support the overall infrastructure. That is one where even John had pointed out, if I look at a green being really tracking against where we wanted to be this year, one would be that, but two, as John pointed out, it's in the yellow. And so we still have the latter half of the year left, and there's a lot of effort going forward in that space, but it would be called out as yellow. Green, scaling. So we do want to work towards outside of the Treasure Valley with all of our tools and impact team and everything we're doing. And so that's actually coming together quite well, even though it was paused. And then 4, going places, designing giving solutions for not only nonprofits, but also including different foundations and B Corps. There's a number of facilitation sessions that Blossom's been spearheading. And then the 5th ties back to when we're asking for our community to be involved and capacity builders, our consultants to be involved. We know how much value there is to be able to continue to have people involved year after year. And so we hold ourselves accountable to the metric of trying to keep 80% of our team engaged year after year. So those are the 5 outcomes that we have focused on again this year. So how are we going to build out our operations plan? And this is what we've been working towards over the last 100 or started. We have a 100-day process that we have in place, and it really has 3 main steps. By now, we've done a lot of reflecting on how 2021 has gone, as well as 2022. And those are starting to help us understand what some of the key priorities might be in going into 2023. Over the next 3-4 more weeks, we continue to reach out to our community and ask, as well as internally, what those targets should be for 2023. And then with that, then we will be doing some work bringing in not only our community, but also working internally to be able to figure out how are we going to get there. So we'll have a roadmap, action plans, and tie that into our budget. By the end of this fiscal year, we're targeting it to be done a few weeks before the end of the year, so we'll have a plan in place. And this is actually being created amongst our 7 different committees. So we're having the grantee relationship team look back and figure out where we need to go. We have our communications team, our funding team, our evaluation team, and even looking at ourselves internally. We have a number of different committees that will all be involved in laying out a plan. So questions on that, because this is looking forward. So those of you that are on the call that have any interest at all in helping build for the future, let us know. We're always bringing in extra thoughts from our community to ensure that we're going to be meeting our community needs, which is a perfect segue. Where can you help? I'll let you take it from there.
All right. As you all know, IP4G is really designed to be a community-driven organization. And here you are. As members of the community, your support is really fundamental to IP4G's success as an organization. Some of the ways that you can help are, and really this is a recap since a lot of these have been mentioned already. Our awesome comms coordinator, Ty, is moving on. We wish her all the best and thank her for her tremendous work, doing a great job putting us on the map. Now we need to recruit another comms coordinator. That job description will be coming out in an upcoming newsletter, so keep an eye out for that. As John mentioned as well, you can be a YCon sponsor or attend YCon. Remember, that's at the latter half of October. You can also give to IP4G, as Blossom often mentions, time, treasure, and talent, or time, talent, and treasure. If you're like me and you're not really, don't really have a whole lot of treasure or talent, never fear, time is also valuable. We also need a note taker for the board of directors. That's a great opportunity to get to know IP4G and its board of directors a little bit better, build some relationships. You can also join the partner experience team. That's the team that's responsible for planning events. The last one, as you heard, went really well. It was a lot of fun. You can also volunteer for a short-term CRM project for IP4G and our grantees. That's a great opportunity to provide valuable support. And I imagine more information about that will be provided if you're interested. As Lorraine and Blossom also made a great argument for, you can also reach out and ask us to, or ask the impact team to host a strategic charitable giving presentation for your company, or you can hire the impact team to do other kinds of work for your company. They do great work. Finally, in terms of social media, sorry, I'm almost done, I promise. If you haven't been able to make it in person to our monthly breakthrough series, IP4G has a YouTube channel. Follow them, like the videos, or help us get our name out there, as John said. Help people realize that we exist by engaging and sharing social medias, like, share, comment. Lorraine also had something to mention. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I wanted just to add a little thing because we had a recent conversation with one of our team leaders about how we are user experience and user oriented, right? We want to do every approach we have is human-centered design, it's collaborative and stuff. And we want to have end user representative in all our teams, which is not exactly the case today. So that means if you have experienced a journey with nonprofit, or you're involved, or you've been involved, and you kind of really know that environment well, and you want to jump in a team to really be that end user representative, then please reach out and jump in, because we really want to build with our end users.
All righty. So there's a lot of ways you can get involved, and you heard from a lot of different people today about where they're sitting right now. So this quarter, we'd like to shout out to a couple of people who have really done a great deal of work to help us achieve those 5 outcomes. And first of all, you heard from both Jose Lynn and Kendall. Jose Lynn helped us to build out our Google Classroom onboarding experience, and also is a member of our GRT. Mike Stefanchich is with BSU, and he leads the program that connects students to the community, but he has also been co-leading the GRT process. Luke Jones has been part of our impact team, working on, he and Matt Taylor did the video with Jimmy, and then also partnered with Kendall to coordinate the BBP or the interview process for our grantees. Okay, so Kai, would you drop the survey link in the chat for me? Okay, so we would like to, it'll also be in the follow-up email, by the way, the survey, so don't hop out there quite yet. But let me just ask a quick question, so open your chat. Is this a good method to learn, connect, and engage? Yes, no, maybe so? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And while you're doing that, I will tell you that our successes have been significant for such an early stage, and we have data to prove it. There's a lot of research on the power of this transformational philanthropic model. So we need you to just ask. Here's how we're different. We use human-centered design to ensure our work is grounded in the needs of the end user. We continually learn, so we stay at the cutting edge of our craft. We evaluate pretty much everything we do, so we have compelling data and stories. We aren't transactional with our grantees. We actually get in the trenches and work with them. We give unrestricted grants because it's the gold standard, and we go the distance because change doesn't happen overnight. We are committed to equity. That's why we're going to change from tribe to something else. We need diverse perspectives and experiences to guide our work. Come along and help with this critical work of transferring the way that we give in Idaho.